What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the BAMcast. I'm your host, Baker Shields, and in this episode, we're going to be doing another solo episode. I haven't done one in a long time, probably in like 20-ish episodes, so this will be a good time to kind of catch up, a little bit of a change of pace. I haven't posted a podcast in 3 weeks, I believe, because of the craziness of our second ever lead summit with AR Funnel, and it was a fantastic event. We had, I think, right at or just under 60 people come in from across the country. I actually had some come in from Canada as well. So I guess technically across the world, global conference. But we had a bunch of people come in. We had a phenomenal time. We invested a lot of time, effort, resources, and just making sure it was as great of an event as we possibly could have. And yeah, it was an incredible time. We got a lot of great feedback on just I think this is probably the most like motion that we've had as far as our brand. Like we've been kind of pouring our all into the same people, the same niche, the same industry for the last 3 years. And for me, that weekend, because it was 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago now, was kind of the culmination of all of that hard work and just dedication to the same group of people and in the same industry that kind of I don't know, it just kind of paid off. So it was really cool to see. We launched our new product, at least in the beta phase, to um, 20 people there. We offered 20 spots. We filled that up. It was the first time that I've ever really pitched anything on stage, and it was a massive success. And we took a bunch of kind of the revenue made from that, or the revenue made from that launch, and then we dumped it straight into just improving the product. So it was a great time. We got a lot of great feedback. We are very, very lucky as a company to have like such formidable friends in the space, because a lot of the speakers were some of our clients, right? But also some of them were just like friends that we have in the industry. And they also just so happen to be some of the like smartest minds and biggest killers in the space. So we had Kendall Strample and Zach Colburn he participated in the event, but he wasn't actually there. But Will Jerome, we had Austin Medlin come in. He talked about sales. We had Jared Hamilton. There's a bunch, Maureen Evelyn, several people that just kind of came in, contributed to the event, and it was just an awesome time. My parents were there. That was the first time they've ever seen me speak on stage, which was a really cool kind of moment. And I was kind of reflecting on. I ended up tearing up on the way home because I was like deep in it. I was dark in it, which is why, hence, I haven't had a podcast episode in a few weeks. Just a lot of pressure. I've been working on this product launch, being Check-ins Pro for the product itself for about 6 months. Mostly nights and weekends to make sure it didn't interfere with like AR work, even though it is AR work. It's just some of the sacrifices that you make. And so, they saw me launch this thing and end up doing 6 figures from stage in terms of this launch, which is something that it's crazy to even say, because not a lot of entrepreneurs have ever done that, and just in general. And I was just reflecting on the way home afterwards and started kind of tearing up and may have dropped a tear or two. But I was just thinking, they have been there and supported me, my parents, through countless launches, countless awful failure launches. Whether it's fitness equipment or apparel or gummies or like any of the things that I've done in the past. I've had a lot of launches where like I work really hard, put in a lot of time, put in a lot of effort, do everything that I can think of doing to try to make it as successful as possible. And like, my dad or my mom is the only purchaser, like literally. And that means a lot, and they've always really supported me. But the fact that they got to come and watch me do that on stage and have like a successful launch, like not just a successful launch, but one to that level, that was just an incredible feeling. So, just catching you guys up on the last few weeks, but we have been busy for a good reason. The cool thing about, this podcast and me hosting it and what we are trying to do with it is that I'm still in the trenches. Like I'm still doing this stuff day to day, still run companies, and still actually work on all of this stuff nonstop. So anything you hear me talk about or be interested in or any experience that I have, like I'm actively using it, trying to learn from it and grow from it as well, just like you guys are that are listening to this. So today we're going to kind of do a little bit of a throwback. In the first, I guess, 45, 50 episodes, about every 10, 15, 20 episodes, we do just like a quote episode. So we're just going to reflect over a couple of quotes that have really been speaking to me. If you guys have listened to the previous episode of the podcast, you know that I'm a big quotes guy. I've got a note in my phone that I keep just called quotes. And what I do is if I hear something that was like a kind of heavy hitting quote or something that really spoke to me or hit me or changed my thought process on something, I'll add it to this kind of notes tab. So now it's got, probably close to 100 different one-liners or reframes or just thoughts in there that help me to kind of expand my mind or understand something better than maybe I could put it into words myself. So we're gonna go through a few of these latest quotes and go from there. So a couple of these are from Alex Hormozi, which this is going to be really cool because we actually spent 5 figures. We're going to be going to the acquisition.com scaling workshop in Vegas at the acquisition.com headquarters tomorrow morning. Actually, I fly out. So I'm recording this Monday, November 10th. So Tuesday, November 11th, I'm flying out with Mike and Miss Felicity, and we're going to go to the scaling workshop. So we'll actually go get to meet Alex and Layla and their whole kind of acquisition.com portfolio team to talk a lot about what the next evolution of our business looks like and how we can kind of get it there as efficiently and cleanly as possible. So it's kind of fitting that these are some Hormozi quotes because I'm going to meet him in the next couple of days. So he talked about on this one clip that I saw, and there's a bunch of Hormozi just like clipping accounts. So eventually it'd be cool to get to that level. But there's tons of accounts out there that are just clipping crazy stuff that he, like really heavy hitting stuff that he has said in his long form, whether that's his podcast or just YouTube videos that he puts out or Zoom calls that he has or whatever. So he said this thing and it really just hit me. It was a good reframe for me. So he said, many people say they want to be in the top 1% or 0.1% or 0.01%, but that saying has zero bearing on it making it happen. Achievement comes from actions, not aspirations. To be the top 1%, you need a room full of 100 people. You need to enter a room full of 100 people and leave number one. To be the top 0.1%, you need to enter a room full of 1,000 people and leave number one. To be in the top 0.01%, you need to enter a small stadium of 10,000 people, a stadium. And in a battle to the death, you would have to be the last one standing. So if you have a goal to be in the top 0.01%, do you think that you can live a normal life? Keep the same friends, same hobbies, same sleeping habits? And basically, that's the quote. So basically, what I thought is incredible about that and just that frame is a lot of us, I don't think there's very many people that wouldn't say that they want to be in the top 1% of something, whether that's like most people think financially whenever you say something like that. But a lot of people will say like in their career or in their given kind of sport or discipline or maybe their job that they're working or something like that. And you don't really ever think, you just like, that just sounds like the thing that you should say. Like, I want to be elite. But you don't really think about like, okay, so that means that in a room full of 100 other people doing what I'm trying to do, doing my sport, doing my job, making money, I would have to be the top one. And that in and of itself is like a kind of intimidating thing to think about, or a different way of thinking about it is walk into a room of 100 and I've got to be the top dog if I'm that top 1%. But then you take it to the next level of like 0.1%. And that being 1,000 people, like I don't even think my high school basketball like arena that I had growing up even fit 1,000 people. And so it's like walking into something like that with even like overflowing, and then understanding that in that arena, right, or that gymnasium, we'll call that one. You have to be able to walk out and say like, I was the top dog, I was the top performer. So again, think about it as financial, or think about it as your career, or think about it as a sport. Like whatever speaks to you in the season of life, or whatever you want to be in the top 1% or 0.1% is, you have to walk into a room with 1,000 people and walk out the top one, the best performer, the highest achiever. And then he anchors it all with the 0.1%. You know, you have to walk into a stadium of 10,000 people and he equates it to like being a gladiator. You walk in and in a battle to the death, you would have to be the last man standing, last woman standing. So I love like hearing those numbers because it makes it real, right? And it makes you kind of think about the gravity of, it's not just like a sexy thing to say, it's a real idea, it's a real concept. And if you're going to say that, this is seriously what that means in terms of numbers. Then following up with the reframes of, do you think you can live the same life that everybody else gets to live? Do you think you can live a normal life and be that guy, the 1%, 0.1%, 0.01%? Do you think you can keep the same friends or hobbies? Are you in a crowd right now of people? Are your friends people that support you being that top 0.1%? Do they push you to be that? Do they not? Do they hold you back? Right? Like, what types of things are they excited to talk about? What types of things are they asking you to go do? Can you keep the same sleeping habits, same schedule? Like that is such a powerful, like for whatever reason, that whole kind of analogy, like just unlocked some stuff with me of like, um, prepping for the event, for example. It was long hours, like here in the office before everybody, especially like the week of the event, here in the office before everybody, here in the office after everybody, going straight home and mainly being home for the purpose of being able to be around Kinsey and there to help out with Oki the pup. But also going to continue to work, but at least I'm doing it near her, right? And it kind of, I heard that and I'm like, I really do love this stuff. Like I really do enjoy. It's stressful and you feel a little bit extra cortisol and you might panic a couple of times, or freak out or whatever, but I really do love that. Like the burning the candle at both ends, the knowing that you're doing something that other people aren't willing to do, going to a height people don't get to experience. Like it's just a cool feeling. So I really love that quote. I know I'm kind of babbling on about it, but hopefully that lands something for you guys as well. Of, you can say that you want to be the top X%, but what does that really mean in terms of numbers? Are you confident you could walk into a room of 100 people or 1,000 people or 10,000 people and walk out the top dog? Like, are you confident? If not, maybe it is time to look at your hobbies, your life, your routine, the friends that you keep, your sleeping habits, your workout habits, etc. So cool reframe. I really liked it. Another one, okay, and this is kind of equates to like how the feeling I kept getting during the event of like how I really, really love this stuff. Even though it's hard, I really love it. When losers go through hard times, they think poor me. When champions go through hard times, they think poor everyone else who's trying to catch me, because they're going to have to go through this too, and they're not going to be able to make it. So I think that's a fun thought, and it's kind of a hardcore thought, but it's a fun thought to think about. Is like, if you can just reframe when you're going through kind of like the the crap that comes with trying to achieve something or build something or create something or run a business or be successful or be a great dad or a great mom or whatever that is for you, because it's going to come up differently for you than it might for me. You can either think, man, this sucks, this is tough for me, or you can think, man, that sucks for everybody else because I'm not quitting. I know I'm not quitting, but there's a good chunk of them, they're not going to make it. And that's how you have to think. Like, if you can make that reframe, how much more power does that unlock for you? How much more energy does that unlock? Because that energizes me, thinking about, hey, somebody else put in this same scenario would not just bend, they would break, they would stop, they would turn around, they would quit. But for me, I'm bending and I'm going to keep going. And I know there's nothing that can stop me from keep going. Like there's a massive kind of power unlock in just thinking about it and reframing it that way for yourself. So I encourage you to think about, like, whenever you get in these situations, are you thinking poor me? Or are you thinking poor everybody else? Because I want to encourage you guys, think poor everybody else. And if you can just stick to it, the one way to guarantee you don't lose is if you don't quit. So don't quit. Another one that he said recently that and I got like on Hormozy side of Instagram, obviously, with a couple of these like clipping accounts. But he said, a ship in harbor is safe, but that's not what ships are made for. And to me, what this means, or the meaning of this quote, and I'm sure he didn't actually come up with it. I'm sure it's like a proverb from somewhere. But a ship in harbor is safe is like, yeah, there are situations you can keep yourself in that might be safe. It might feel like the smart choice, the less risky choice. But we're not meant to be stuck in that, right? Like we're not meant to be always safe. We're not meant to be always passive or always just sitting back and waiting or protecting ourselves. If you feel like you're meant to go take these risks, or if you feel like you're meant to go chase something, you can't be that person that's stuck in the harbor. You can't be the ship that's stuck in the harbor, because that's not what you were meant to go do. You were meant to go create, go chase, go build. So that was a cool kind of thing for me, of like, a ship in harbor is safe, yes, but that's not what ships were made for. And you might feel safe by not chasing something, or you might feel like, well, this is the smart thing to do. But if you're the ship, right? Then you're never going to be happy just sitting in harbor, because you weren't meant to do that. You're only going to be happy if you go pursue, right? If you go hit the open ocean, you go chase something. This is one that I was kind of thinking about the other day, because we've been building a lot, and this was actually something that I ended up writing down, because it was just a thought that I had. I'm sure somebody else has said something similar, so let's not make it a Bakersfield quote. But we've been thinking a lot, talking a lot, and actively building our team at AR Funnel. And so one thing that we've been talking about a lot is looking at recruiting or building more like a network or team of high performers. And so we've had a big focus on going through a little bit more in depth of an interview process, going through a little bit more in depth of a um, checking and seeing how are people's strengths stacking up to the rest of the team. How are they going to complement us? Is this somebody that we're going to have to sink a significant amount of time, effort, resources into training, or do they already have a great skill set? We can kind of just point them in the right direction. One thing we're also thinking about a lot is culture-wise. Are they a big fit? Are they going to push the culture forward? Or are they going to be bought in? Because a lot of times with highly skilled people, they are not bought into the culture. And if you get a high skilled person that's low culture, that's like the number one recipe for disaster, because they're just going to eventually go do whatever you're bringing them on and training them to do on their own. So there's a lot of things that you're kind of balancing there. But one thing that came to mind as we're really building a lot of these things out is this thought of nothing kills a high performer like mediocrity tolerated. And I think that's something that we have to let set in, especially if you are building a team, or even if you're operating on a team. Nothing kills a high performer like mediocrity tolerated. And what I mean by that is, the quickest way to kill the kind of spirit or will of somebody on your team that is really motivated and a really high performer, and someone that wants to push, build, drive, is allowing somebody else on the team to be mediocre. When they see mediocrity tolerated, which means you as the leader, you as the builder, you as the owner, tolerating someone on the team being mediocre in their role, when they see that, that will absolutely kill the spirit of someone who considers themselves a high performer. So you have to go about building your team in a way where, number one, hopefully you don't attract or hire on as many people that are okay with mediocrity, or that are mediocre in terms of talent or drive or culture. But what you do want to do is build a culture that is not toxically high achieving, but it rewards high achievement and drive and going above and beyond. Because if you don't tolerate the mediocrity, you don't have to be an a-hole. You don't have to just, put somebody down or call them mediocre or anything like that. But if you don't tolerate that, if it's openly shown that you're not tolerating it, that you are acknowledging, hey, that was not up to our standards, that will keep your high performers, the people that want more, are going to do more, that have a drive for more, that will keep them motivated and energized to go perform, because they're being rewarded, and they see the opposite of what they're doing not be rewarded, right? Be called out or be recognized as bad or poor or not up to standard. So just remember that if you're building a team of any kind, or on a team of any kind, nothing kills a high performer like mediocrity tolerated. So if you feel like your drive is being killed, if you probably look at it, if you're on a team right now, if you probably look at it, it's because somebody else on the team is getting the same amount of praise, the same pay, the same whatever, while being mediocre at what they do compared to you. And it's an energy killer. It's an energy suck. So it might be something that you pass on to the leader. And if you are the leader, remember that. Okay, two more, and they kind of go together. So there's this one liner. I can't remember who I got this one from, but grief is only love without a place to go. I thought that was really just emotionally powerful thing. I've had a lot of loss in the family over the last like 4 or 5 years, in terms of grandparents, great grandparents, just family members in general. And that really kind of like it hit me hard, because it is the grief, like how hard of a feeling that is like you're feeling that love for that person, and you have no way to like share it with that person. So it's just kind of trapped love. I thought that was a really kind of beautiful reframe for grief. But on the flip side of that, if you want to turn it into more of an actionable thing that is more along the same kind of nerve or vein of self-development, something that you can look at as far, this was a Hormozi quote, but work toward a better eulogy, not a better resume. Okay, work toward a better eulogy, not a better resume. And what I took that to mean, or what I think that means, is, you should be working for how people are going to speak about you after you're gone, right? Give them something to speak about in a positive manner after you're gone. If you're only concerned with filling up a resume sheet, you're only going to be concerned with the things that matter today, to advance you today and get you to tomorrow. Versus if you're working on building legacy stuff, big stuff, relationships, impact, that's going to be something that is fluffing up or building up your eulogy, the way that people talk about you when you're gone, the impact, the legacy, the thing that you're leaving behind. Because nobody's going to take a look at your resume after you're gone, right? But if you give them enough great things, if you do enough great things to have enough impact in your life, they'll give you an amazing eulogy, right? So I thought that was a kind of a cool reframe for what we should really be building towards. Not a better resume, a better eulogy. Leave more impact for those that come after you. So that was a kind of fast-paced quote episode, guys. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I just want to make sure I don't go another week without giving you guys something. Hopefully this was valuable. I'd love to hear in the comments any quotes that maybe anything from this episode that kind of stood out to you as far as quotes, anything that helped you reframe something, or maybe spoke to you in a different way that you weren't ready for, or that you thought was cool. And then also, if you want me to kind of if you want to contribute to my quotes list and add anything to the list for me of anything that's impacted you, then leave it in the comments down below, and I will make sure that I add it to my list, and maybe a future quotes episode if you guys like this kind of frame. Thank you for listening. And if you are on YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future episodes or future long form content. We've got a lot planned in the AI realm and AI education realm especially. If you are on an audio platform listening to this, make sure that you do subscribe/like the podcast. And it'd be great if you could leave a 5-star review. That helps me to get it in front of more people. I don't run ads, don't do any sponsorships, nothing like that. So that is the only way that the show is going to grow. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you in the next one.